Alright, well, we've got a pretty special one today. An especially filthy one. I found this on Facebook Marketplace for $5. I assumed, based on the couple of pictures that it had, that it was a Pentium 4 system, probably Windows XP, and I didn't know that the side panel was pretty much destroyed. I also didn't realize how absolutely disgusting this thing is. Let's get you in closer, and then we can go over the specs as I take it apart. Ugh. We have a gateway. It's kind of gross. I don't even want to open it yet. Let's go ahead and grab a cloth. I picked these up from the dollar store. Of course, they're all pinned together. Is there another one? Oh, there is. There we go. I don't really want to touch this thing. As usual, we're using La's Totally Awesome, which you can also pick up at the dollar store. And despite the fact that it smells like cat urine, it's actually really good at cleaning. Look at that. Look at how easy that was. And how gross that is. We're going to need some more. Ugh. We're also going to try and fix this side panel. I can already see that it just will not close because the clips are bent all out of place. Oh, there we go. I'm just about ready to be willing to touch this thing. Oh my god, look at that. So there's the bent clips. I think we can fix that. Might as well get this while we're at it. Now, I already know that it's not a Pentium 4 system. I thought it was, but I can see on the front it has a Core 2 Duo sticker, which is actually pretty good, especially if this supports Core 2 quads. We could make a legitimate gaming machine out of this. How does this come apart? Well, that's just sitting in there. That's not attached to anything. Wow, they're using a IDE optical drive even into the Core 2 era. They must have had some backstock they were trying to get rid of. That's pretty gross. This hard drive mount, I don't think that this was put away properly. Okay. 200 gigs, that is a very strange size for a hard drive. That's actually fairly clean. Let's get this out of here. Looks like we have, wow, 6 SATA ports and a spider. Okay, let's get him out of there. No thank you. At least it's a dead spider. I'm not a big fan of spiders. Okay. I don't think we have a choice. We need to get this thing blown out before I go any further. Maybe I can get this off. I mean, surely... Oh, that's covered in spiders. All right, let's get this blown off before we talk about the rest of the specs. We're gonna make this as quick as possible because it's like 102 degrees outside. Well, that didn't do much. Most of the spider webs are still there. Let's get this inside and take a closer look. I don't think there's a whole lot more we can do out here, and it's hot. Okay, well, it's still pretty gross. I know that this comes up somehow. I don't know how. Surely there's a clip somewhere. How? Oh, there is no clip. You just pull. Okay. Get some of those dust bunnies. Let's at least get this heatsink off and see which Core 2 Duo we have. Of course, well, maybe I put my screwdriver over here. There we go, yeah. Actually found it for once. Okay, so those appear to be captive. That is good. I also don't see any obviously bad capacitors. This was at the very tail end of the capacitor plague. Oh, of course I dropped that. Survey says we have a Core 2 Duo 6320. I don't think I've ever actually encountered one of those before. Oh, and we've got a copper slug here. Not that it does anything other than go right into the into the aluminum. What a chintzy cooler. This is terrible. Well, let's at least clean this off. There we go. I wonder if this thing could take a Core 2 quad. What model of gateway do we have? You know, let me just pull this fan off. Designed for Windows XP, so this is definitely... There must have been a foot here. Interesting. Oh, there's our information. Okay, we've got... Oh, this had Windows 7 on it at some point. Somebody actually paid for that. An E4610S. Let me look that up real quick and see what CPU... The CMOS battery's in backwards. I can't make that up. That's in upside down. What? The person I bought this from said that the PC would not display out and that they didn't know anything about computers, so they were selling this as scrap. I wonder if they did this. Can't even get that out. There we go. Come on. This is also really scratched up. So we're going to assume that's bad. I've already got this new Rata battery ready to go. One of my viewers sent this in. Thank you very much. They sent a whole bunch of batteries in. I'm already almost out, by the way. So if you want to send in some batteries, my P.O. box is in the description below. We're just going to... Let me look up and see what CPUs this supports. Let's get this fixed. I thought that would be as simple as just popping that. Oh! Good enough. So I looked it up, and there's almost no information on this board, but it seems to be a variant of the 965 chipset, which in theory supports one Core 2 quad, and that's the Q6600, but also only one S-spec version of the Q6600. So just for the moment, I think we're going to keep this Core 2 in here. I mean, some of the information I found was just blatantly wrong. Some people were saying that this only supported Pentium Ds. So I think it's pretty obvious that the Pentium D is not the only CPU, or the highest CPU this thing supports, considering it came with a Core 2 Duo. Okay, let's get this more or less back in place. I have lost my little makeup brush that I usually use to dust things like this, but it'll be fine for now. All the dust on this PC is very sticky. Leads me to think that this might have been in a smoker's house. It's very... I can't really describe it very well. Those of you who know, you know. Okay, at least we have a fairly decent chipset cooler. That was not a given on these PCs. I wonder, now this person that I got this from said that this would not show a display. I wonder if this is because that BIOS battery was upside down. Let's grab a VGA cable and a power cable and just see if it works as it sits. Oh, this has DVI on it. That's kind of nifty. Not that I'd want to use the onboard graphics anyway. Let's see what we get. And get our power cable brought in. Is it gonna turn on automatically? Doesn't seem so. Okay, we're powered on. My guy was correct. There is no display. Now this could be as simple as bad RAM. So let's go ahead. Oh, hold on. There was a red light there. What was that light? The light that turns red is the not labeled. CR7BV. I don't know what that means. So does this come out at all? Let's go ahead and test our power supply just in case. I think my power supply tester's over there. Okay. There's one part, our P4 connector. Now let's see what we get. Okay, I don't like that. So our voltages are technically within spec, but they are wildly fluctuating. Our 5 volt is fluctuating. You know what? No, this is a bad power supply. Our 12 volt is fluctuating between 11.8 and like 12.6. In fact, sometimes it's going too high. Same with this one, same with that one. This 5 volt is occasionally dropping out completely. This is a bad power supply. Okay. That's not super great because this is a proprietary power supply. Oh dear. You know what we can do? We can at least test to see if, well, that's not going to work. That's a 20 pin. We can at least test to see if the computer itself is functional. I believe this is a good power supply, but we will verify it. Mostly because I don't remember why it's sitting on my chair. This was not part of the adventure plan. It's stable, but everything is 0.2 of a volt low. Nope, don't like that one. Okay. I need to mark that. It's probably a fine power supply, but don't trust it. Let's use this one. This came out of our Dell PowerEdge SC430 that we recently did. An absolutely disgusting machine. However, I do know that although the fan is going bad, I know that the power supply itself is good. So let's see if this motherboard at least works. That would be preferable. Unfortunately, it's a BTX motherboard, so there's only so much I can do with it. Yeah, that fan is just as bad as I remember. We are getting nothing out of this PC. Okay. So at this point, we are pull this. Oh, that is tough to get to. I know this is a good power supply. The computer will probably post just fine with this power supply. So we're going to plug it back in, even though I don't trust it long term. Some of the capacitors are a little bent, but they don't look bad. Huh. Let's pop out some sticks of... Who designed this? In order to remove the RAM, you have to remove the power supply? That's a great design. I think it's just these two. Nope, there's a third. Okay. We have access to our sticks of RAM. Let's see what we've even got. That's 1 gig. Hold on a second. 1 gig. These came from the factory with... There's our original RAM. These came with 1 gig. So this, for some reason, had 3. Let's try it with those 2 taken out. Those are the presumable upgrade sticks. Nothing. Okay. Well, let's swap them. I actually don't know which of these channels should be populated first. Let's try our 1 gig sticks in this channel. This would make a pretty ballin' XP machine if we can get it to... Oh, that's pretty gross. If we can get this thing to fire up, it would make a good XP machine. That's different behavior. Still no display. But the CPU fan has... We have a display. Hold on. We have a display. It was bad RAM. Okay. We're on to something. Okay. Yeah, it was very unhappy about the backwards CMOS battery. Okay. So, now that we know it boots, let's see how far we can push it. Let's see if we can get a Q6600 to work in here. Actually, before I do that, let me see if I even have a Q6600. I'm pretty sure I do, but let's verify. Okay. Duo's laptop Q84, Q6600. Okay. It's worth a shot. I don't like this power supply still, but let's use it while it still functions. Even, honestly, with a Core 2 Duo, still pretty ballin' XP machine, but I think that we should shoot for the moon. Let's see if we can get Linux on here. And let's play some modern games. That won't go wrong, right? Certainly not. Our 6320 out of here. Again, CPU I've never actually seen before. Oh, there's thermal paste in the socket. Not anymore, there's not. Okay. Get in there. Normally I would just set the cooler down loosely on top of it, but the way that this case is designed, you really do actually need to secure it properly. So that just means it takes slightly longer. Not a big deal. I really hope this works. That would be actually pretty awesome. Because then I could justify pulling this power supply apart and recapping it. That might be an adventure for a different day, though. Those are not mega easy to do. Get in there. Certainly there's no way that this works. I mean, hold on. Maybe. We have a screen. Yeah, we're good. Core 2 quad. Oh, that is awesome. In fact, that makes me comfortable with doing this. Well, okay, I guess that... How does this go back in? Good enough. Oh, that is amazing. I guess the question simply becomes, do we make this an insane modern PC, or do we keep it more or less accurate? Because this should support up to 8 gigs of RAM. Now, I don't have a whole lot of 2 gig DDR2, but maybe I should gather it up and see what we can do. Alright, first things first, the quest for 4 gigs. Let's take out these known working 1 gig sticks. Let's set them aside. We can always fall back to them later. I've got these OCZ 2 gig sticks, which were sent in. Thank you, whoever sent those in. I do love the OCZ Gold series and the Platinum as well. Unfortunately, the stuff that I had before had somehow ended up with missing teeth. Very, very strange problem to have with RAM. Whoops. Okay. Will we post? The CPU fan isn't ramping up, but we have a display. Okay, we have 4 gigs. That was surprisingly easy. I was expecting these to be dead. OCZ is not known for its longevity. I guess I should find some more 2 gig sticks then. Of course, there are some cases where perfectly working sticks may not work with each other, so we're going to... Oh! It looks okay. So we're going to test these ones independent from the OCZ, which are now suddenly questionable again. Let's throw these in real quick. That was not my finest moment. But I'm going to keep it in because I make mistakes. And it's important that people realize that no one is perfect. So let's see. We're going to give it a minute. What we don't have is the CPU fan blowing at full speed. So that might be a good sign. We have a screen. Okay, in theory, these should now work together. Close up my box of random sticks. We're going to unplug this, and we're going to test the OCZ in with whoever makes those. Saw some dust bunny in the slot there. Okay. And now the one that I unceremoniously yeeted. It would please me greatly if this were to still work, and in fact, work together. Let's see what we get. Once again, the CPU fan is not spinning up to maximum. We have a Core 2 quad and 8 gigs of RAM installed. Huh, this cooler's actually getting kind of warm. We have a screen. Oh my god. Okay, this is huge. Now I need to see what kind of wattage this power supply is. Output, where's the output? 275 watts. Okay, so that obviously limits what we can install in here. But if we're going to make the ultimate machine out of this, how do I get this open? Let's see that it... Okay, so we're going to put a graphics card in here. Obviously it has to be low profile. Let me see what I can find. As much as I would love to put this GT 1030 in here, thank you again for sending this in, I don't yet have a bracket for it. But what I do have is this GT 730. It's a 4 gig card, which is bizarre. It's the Zone edition. Still way more powerful than anything that would have been, from the era. So let's go ahead and open up one of these slots. Try and get those run down there. And luckily, because this system is BTX, which normally I hate, in this instance, if I can even get this card to go in, what are we hitting? We don't appear to be hitting anything. There we go. Okay, it was just tough. Because this is a BTX system, this airflow path from the CPU will pass basically right over the graphics card as well. Yes, it will be preheated by the CPU, so we're getting hot air blown onto the graphics card, but hot airflow is better than no airflow. So, I think it's about time we grab our keyboard here and see if we can get into the BIOS. And now that I'm remembering it, I need to grab a DVI adapter because this GT730 has DVI and HDMI, and this is VGA. I will be right back. Okay, while I was hunting around for this adapter that was sitting right next to me, I found my brush. So we're gonna manually evict some of these spiders. Okay, should be good enough. Okay. Ugh. Now the question is, will this system auto-detect that there is a graphics card installed, or will we have to... Oh my god. I can't use this monitor. This is a digital-only DVI port. I can't use an analog adapter. Okay, so a while ago someone sent in a whole bunch of HDMI adapters, and I think this is going to come in clutch. We are plugged into HDMI 1. I think the TV's plugged in. Yeah, we've got that. power. I've never actually turned this on before, so I don't know if it works. Oh, I can't tilt it? It's a non-tilt screen. Okay. HDMI 1. Okay, let's see. Well, we've got our CPU back to maximum. Oh, wait. Will it auto-detect the graphics card? Uh-oh. That might be a no. Oh dear. Let's put this back up and see if we're displaying out on the onboard. We are not displaying out on onboard. Okay. You know, I've never actually tested this graphics card. It may not work. This adapter also might not work. I think what we want to do is pull our card there we go. Rely on the onboard and see what we get. Hey, I wonder if this adapter, this backplate rather, will work. Hey, that might work. GT 1030 it is, as long as I can get these off. Okay, bracket removed from our GT 730, and we're gonna remove this tape. Apparently it's a good overclocker. And I think, oh, it's already got the standoffs on it. See if I can get to the BIOS on this machine. It's probably F2. Could be delete. Okay, F2. Core 2 quad detected. Total memory detected. We're looking pretty good here. Let's get this bracket onto this GT 1030. This could be a pretty amazing little little glow up for this PC. All right, so our it's not quite perfect, but this might just work. Okay. Ignore just about everything, but I want to go to video configuration, primary video adapter, PCIe. exit saving changes. And then what we will actually do is just power it off. Once it powers off. There we go. Now we stick our GT1030 in here. If we can. Now let's see if we can fit the HDMI cable in without using this adapter, because this adapter is an unknown quantity. World's shortest HDMI cable. That's a no. This big latch here is preventing it. So let's try our adapter again. It would be nice to see a signal here. That's my preference. But I don't think... Let me see if I have a different Wait. Hey! Yes! Oh, that is awesome. Get this monitor out of here. Okay. That is humongous progress. Okay. Next, storage. Here it is. So here's this included hard drive adapter. I think we're going to just go and leave that as it is, because I'm going to put an SSD in this machine, 240 gigs from Fangjiang. Doesn't really need much, so we're just going to slap that in there and tuck it off to the side. Now, I do want to look at that DVD drive. I think this should, in theory, slide out somehow, because I don't see any screws holding this in. There we go. Perfect. Now we can replace that with a nice multi-drive here from, who made this? Pioneer. I've had good luck with these drives. It goes in this way. And that should be that. Now, how does this go in? Like that. Don't want that stuck in there. Okay. Now there's a couple of extra SATA power cables here, so we're gonna... Oh, that is hard to get to. Why is that so deep? Okay, that is not the greatest design that I've ever seen. Power is in, and I have a SATA cable here as well. Now we're going to reuse that bag. And this should be a lot easier to plug in, even if I do have to go in like almost 2 full inches into this enclosure. I know you can't see. I'm not sorry. Get that plugged in there. Now, get our keyboard. Move this out of the way. Hard drive's probably fine, but based on what I heard, it's probably still got someone else's data on it. So we're going to want to wipe that. Now, I want to close this side panel, but this is all bent up. So I think maybe Oh yeah, I can just bend that back with my fingers. Hopefully not get sliced up in the progress. These are pretty bent. I think my wire strippers here are going to help. Okay. Mostly because these ones are pointed and I actually don't want to stab myself today. So, we got it. Oh, that is terrible, but it's in. What a disgusting computer. It's not in. It's got a weird little lever there. That is still disgusting. I need to wash the rest of this at some point, but right now I think I'm actually going to secure the power supply because I forgot to do that. The screws are sitting right here. One. And there's only 3 that hold this one in for some reason. 2. And that one almost went into the power supply. That would not have been... Oh, come on. What's up with this? I think the magnetic tip on this Dollar Tree screwdriver is starting to lose its magnetization. Let's get all this junk out of the way. I think we are just about ready. No, we're not just about ready. We are ready to install. Well, do we want to try Windows 10 first? I kind of think we do. Yeah, let's try Windows 10. Let me finish getting this done. Let's use the ST300, which I should have. Yep, it's right here. This is our iOD ST300. I bought this on Amazon for quite a lot of money, actually. And it should have the Windows ISO on it for Windows 10. There we go. I don't know what the boot menu is, so I'm just going to start pressing buttons. F10. The mouse was not found. Please refer to the product guide. System will continue. Okay. Am I going to get a boot menu? I might not have pressed F10 fast enough. I don't think we will. But maybe it'll just boot from it as it sits. Sure. Select CD-ROM type. 1? Maybe. We'll give it a minute. It's not exactly a speed demon. Oh, that took a hot minute, but we are getting into the installer. We're going to test Windows and Linux on this machine. I wonder if we could run MechWarrior 5 on this. That's probably a long shot, but we'll give it a try. Windows install. I wonder if I should put a separate drive on here for games. That way when we install Linux, we don't have to reinstall all of our Steam games. You know what? I'm going to grab another SSD real quick. Yeah. Got a Crucial BX500 generic SSD. It's 480 gigs. That'll be our game drive, which means I need to find another SATA cable, which shouldn't be hard. In fact, I've got one sitting right here. Yeah, so I think what we're going to do now is oh, there's something already on this SSD. Don't know what it is, but we're going to get rid of it. I don't know what this was used in last. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get drivers installed, Windows installed first, obviously. I will see you when we are ready to test games. So I've been struggling to get this thing to, stand up. But I noticed this panel just doesn't sit very well. And then I noticed if I can get this out real quick, of course it's not going to want to play nice with me with one hand. Come on. These little hooks are bent backwards, so I'm going to push them forwards a little bit, and hopefully our panel will sit flush now. Well, we have ourselves all set up. We've got our games installed. We're going to be trying a small selection today. Of course, we're going to try Dark Souls 3 and MechWarriors 5, but I'd also like to try Deep Rock Galactic, Risk of Rain 2, maybe Pal World, and maybe Sid Meier's Civilization 5. Not so sure about those yet. They take a little bit longer to set up. So, how about recording this CPU? One of the first quad-core CPUs ever released does not have a lot of power behind it. It doesn't have a lot of the modern features that make recording and streaming easier. So, we can't really record from the machine itself. I'm sure it would work, but it would seriously impact our game performance, and we want to see how much we can squeeze out of this machine. So we can't record from it. I'm also not set up for HDMI capture. I can capture VGA, not HDMI. So what are we to do then? Well, we're going to point our phone camera at the screen and see how far we get with that. This is unexpected. Anything that runs on the Unreal Engine will not run on this PC. It can't find our graphics card. Now I know that NVIDIA has had some issues with their graphics drivers recently, so we've gone back to a driver from August of last year, and once this is installed, hopefully we can get the games to run. Let's find out. I am having real trouble getting the old August driver to work, so maybe we have to go even older. Let's pop back to NVIDIA's website real quick. Of course, this is going to be made even harder with the fact that we don't have a driver currently, so we're relying on the CPU for all of its oomph. No, I want drivers. Drivers. And this is a gripe that I have about the NVIDIA website. Oh, actually it remembered everything that I did last time, even though I told it not to use cookies. I guess NVIDIA's website doesn't respect that request. Okay. I'm going to go way back. I guess this is as far back as we can go. June 27th of 2024. Honestly, should be perfectly fine. This is version 556. The one that I was just trying... I didn't want to open Edge. I never want to open Edge. The one I was just trying to install is 560, and the one that worked, but not with Unreal games, is 576. But only time will tell if this version works. If this doesn't work, like I said, we're just going to hop over to Linux. God damn it, Windows. Alright, let's move to Linux. It would appear that Windows has poisoned our PC, so now I have to go in here and try and figure out why it can no longer boot from our iOD ST300. Okay. Let's try that. Will we get lucky? No, we will not. Okay, goddamn. It's gonna blue screen. Is it not gonna blue screen this time magically? What's it doing? There we go. So, we installed Windows from this. I don't know why we can no longer access it. Let's try again. Maybe if I manually select it from the boot menu. It doesn't see it. What? Okay. That's new. Let's try a different USB port. That's the port I used last time. We're going to go ahead and select Baysite. This PC basically meets the absolute minimum requirements for Baysite, so maybe we'll get lucky. Try this again. Actually, I think I'm just going to cut, and we'll be back once I have figured out what the issue is. Oh my god, that's all it was. I just had to move USB ports. Okay, one. That's what we did last time, I think. Welcome to Grub. That's good. Install. Oh, that is amazing. This TV is a little dirty. Grab one of our infinite washcloths here. I'm just going to pull these out. Pretty happy this $5 Goodwill TV actually works. Even if it is dirty. Okay. The Windows installer took a really long time to fire up, so I assume the Baysite one is going to as well. We will return once I have something to show you. Wow. That is really reflective. Okay. Well, that actually installed faster than Windows, and it was completely painless. We didn't encounter a single issue, except for when I accidentally kicked out the network cable. Oh, what can you do, though? At this point, let's see if we can get these games to all run. Now, we're not doing this exactly scientifically. I don't care what the exact frame rates are. I only care about if we can actually play the games. Because no one in their right mind is building a computer like this. No one is doing this. Unless they want to do it for the laughs, or if they're really, really poor. So, without further ado, let's play some games. I have had to refilm this outro 3 times because my wireless microphone keeps disconnecting, and I've also lost the little fuzzy. But I think this is where we're going to have to call it. I tried really hard to make this work, but I think we're going to have to admit defeat on this one. It just is not capable of running the games that we want to run. Now, there are things we could have done differently. Could we upgrade the CPU? No, it's at the absolute maximum. Although a Q9550, that would be a really good CPU for a machine of this style. Again, compatibility issues prevents us from doing that. But I bet that would run our games a little bit better. I would really love to put a GTX 1050 Ti in here. I think that is the key to making this a good gaming machine. But unfortunately, I don't own one of those, let alone a low-profile one. Though I do have a P.O. box if any of you have one kicking around. I would love to throw one of these in here. I think that would do it. But as it sits with the GT 1030, even Linux couldn't save us. NVIDIA's drivers are just too bad. I mean, I know with a 1050 or a 1050 Ti, all of our issues would be gone. Yes, there are some things that the CPU just does not support, and there are some things that chipset just does not support. But that's not going to stop us from gaming. I guarantee you it's the graphics card. Something isn't happy about it, or it's NVIDIA's drivers, or it's just not powerful enough. So for now, that's it. We have failed to turn $5 scrap into a modern gaming machine. However, this would make a pretty kick-ass Windows XP gaming machine for some vintage games. Stick around if you want to see that. If you liked this video, a like would be appreciated. It really helps us in the algorithm. If you want to see more content like this, or the teased Windows XP version of this build, you can stick around for that as well. Feel free to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. And if any of you do have a GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, low profile, I would really love to be able to borrow that. I think that's the key for what I'm trying to do here. I am convinced that is all we need. I don't have one. So, P.O. box is listed down below. Feel free to send me an email. Let's get this upgraded. Let's work together on this. And with that, I tried so hard. I spent so much time on this. This was supposed to be an easy and quick video, but didn't turn out that way. Additionally, you can find a link to my Patreon down below where I post all sorts of behind-the-scenes videos. Speaking of, for those of you who have stuck around this long, I have a secret project in the works. And if we're lucky, I'm going to be posting a teaser video on Patreon on Tuesday, revealing the whole thing. It is the biggest thing we have ever done on this channel. It's going to transform everything. Don't worry, you don't have to pay for my Patreon to see that video. It will be coming out next weekend. It'll be exclusive on Patreon for about 4 or 5 days, almost a week. I think you'll like this. Speaking of, thank you very much to my paid Patreon members. I couldn't do this without you. Thanks for watching.